Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Market Outlook series. As always, we're here to talk about what has happened in the market and what does that tell us about what is to come. So, as usual, we will start off with the weekly time frame of Nifty and take things from there. So, let me take you to the Nifty chart. uh, Weekly time frame. Now, today being the Independence Day, first of all, wishing everybody very happy Independence Day. Uh, and since it's Independence Day, the market is off. So we'll take it easy. We'll have discussion, and then if you have any questions, we'll answer your stock queries on the Zoom link. So if you have stock queries that you wish to ask, I'm pasting the link in the comments where you can join and ask your stock queries. It's simply expinvest.in/join. You'll get the the Zoom link to join in as soon as you sign up here. Um, and then you can ask your queries on the Zoom link itself. I'm going to display it on the chart on the screen for a little while for everyone to see. And in the meanwhile, we'll start the discussion of Nifty. So here is the daily chart, the weekly time frame of Nifty. And what does it tell us if we zoom out of here? Now, this low that was forged, the good thing about this low was that on the weekly time frame, it did not violate the bull range. Had this correction been strong enough, steep enough, and far enough, the level of 40 on the RSI would have been breached, which would have officially ended the bull range. But that did not happen, and that is a good news. So, this is, I would say, a positive. Another thing that's visible on this Nifty chart is that the volume, as the price has gone up, you can see these green bars on my MACD volume histogram. These have started to pop up, which means that as the price increased, the volume also went up, which is another positive. Price structure wise, you can see there is lots of trend lines drawn on the chart. The price of Nifty on decline also stopped at this trend line. Why are all these things important? Because this means that this was simply an intermittent correction of the structure A, B, C, right? And this is the beginning of a new trend, a fact that establishes that this hypothesis is the creation of a higher high above the level of here 24,730. Now, because this was established here, right, we have reason to believe that a new bull run is in place. So, if there is a new bull run in place, what does this correction mean? Let's discuss this correction now. The first thing that we notice is that this correction has brought the index back where? To this trend line support. And this trend line support so far seems to be holding. Now, one thing that I want to remind everybody is when we do these technical observations, we are not getting distracted by the noise or the propaganda out there. We are not getting distracted by fiscal deficit. We are not getting distracted by inflation. We are not getting distracted by weakening rupee. We are not getting distracted by the whole tariff thing. We are not getting distracted by cold wars. We are not getting distracted by hostilities on the borders. Nothing is distracting us. We are observing what the chart is telling us. And why are we doing that? Because every information, every piece of information out there that matters is already factored into this. Yes, Shiju, let's hear you.
Hey Kavita, sorry, Kavita, you are not sharing on Zoom, I think so.
Oh, yes, thank you. Thank you for that. All right, screen is shared now. Thank you so much, Shiju. So, this is what I was saying that this. So, the first thing that we had discussed, just to give a quick recap, is everything that we discussed about the RSI. Here is the support, the volume, Here is the volume, price up, volume up, as you've all listened, heard me say probably like more than 50 times in the class, advanced swing trade training class. And then this correction is ongoing, and this is the trend line support here. So, as I was saying, to continue the point, every piece of information out there that matters has already been factored into the charts. So you do not need to think about it separately. What our role, what our duty here is, we just need to focus on the charts. चार्ट क्या कह रहा है, चार्ट क्या दिखा रहा है, उस पे हमको फोकस करना है पूरी तरह से. तो वीकली टाइम फ्रेम पे की ऑब्जर्वेशंस क्या है कि बुल ट्रेंड अभी भी इंटैक्ट है. जो करेक्शन हमने देखा था सितंबर और फरवरी के बीच में, वो एबीसी करेक्शन था. वो एक लार्जर बुल ट्रेंड के अंदर छोटा सा करेक्शन था. और जो नया बुल ट्रेंड है वो स्टार्ट हो गया है. क्यों? क्योंकि हायर हाई एस्टैब्लिश हो चुका है ऑलरेडी. ठीक है, अब हम डेली चार्ट की तरफ चलते हैं. डेली चार्ट हमें क्या कह रहा है कि डेली चार्ट पर भी ये देखिए, यहाँ पर हायर हाई इस्टेब्लिश, यहाँ पर आरएसआई वापस से काफी टाइम के बाद ओवरबॉट गया था पहली बार. एंड यहीं पर डेली चार्ट पर इस हाई को ब्रीच करके डेली चार्ट ने भी हायर हाई क्रिएट किया था. वेरी गुड. सो डेली चार्ट भी ओवरबॉट गया, डेली चार्ट ने हायर हाई बनाया. डेली चार्ट पे वॉल्यूम एक्टिविटी अगर देखेंगे तो उतनी प्रॉमिसिंग नहीं है, बट जो थोड़ा बहुत वॉल्यूम अपटिक आ रहा है वो अपसाइड पे है, विच इज गुड. ठीक है, तो ये करेक्शन जो आ रहा है, ये करेक्शन क्या है? ये मुझे लगता है कि इस पूरे ट्रेंड का एक इंटरमिटेंट करेक्शन है. एंड यहाँ पर 23,900 जो है, ये मेरा की सपोर्ट है. मैंने पिछले हफ्ते भी कहा था, पिछले हफ्ते के पहले भी कहा था, उसके पहले हफ्ते भी कहा था कि 23,900 का सपोर्ट बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और जब ये वाला सपोर्ट टूटा था, क्या है ये 25,075, जब ये सपोर्ट टूटा था तब हमने कहा था कि 24,500 तो मोस्ट लाइकली आ ही जाएगा. मैं कितना ही मुझे कॉन्फिडेंस हो, मैं कभी भी गारंटी तो कहूंगी ही नहीं, क्योंकि मार्केट में किसी भी चीज़ की कभी गारंटी नहीं होती. तो ये 24,500 का सपोर्ट ऑलरेडी यहाँ पर ब्रीच हो चुका है, इसलिए मैंने यहाँ पे एक रेड क्रॉस लगाया है. आपको दिख रहा है या नहीं मुझे पता नहीं, बट ऑन द शॉर्ट टर्म ऐसा लग रहा है कि 23,900 का भी सपोर्ट जो है टच हो जाएगा. जब तक आरएसआई यहाँ पे ये लेवल ऑफ 40 नहीं ब्रीच करता डेली चार्ट पर, ये याद रखिए आरएसआई 25 पीरियड है, आरएसआई 14 पीरियड नहीं, आरएसआई 25 पीरियड है. जब तक ये 14 के लेवल को ब्रीच नहीं करता तब तक बुल ट्रेंड इंटैक्ट है. एंड आप देख सकते हैं कि सिर्फ आई बॉलिंग से भी समझ में आ रहा है कि ये जो फर्स्ट लेग ऑफ द करेक्शन था वर्सेस जो सेकंड लेग ऑफ द करेक्शन था, देखिए इस ये सेकंड लेग ऑफ द करेक्शन वाज अ लॉट स्लोअर देन द फर्स्ट लेग. A simple way to observe that is also the number of green candles that are visible in the second leg of the correction versus the first leg of the correction, right? So momentum correction का जो momentum है वो already slow down हो रहा है. तो ये ऑब्जर्वेशन हम 75 मिनट टाइम फ्रेम पर ज़्यादा अच्छी तरह से कर सकते हैं. क्यों? कैसे? ये देखिए 75 मिनट टाइम फ्रेम पर जो मैंने ये वाइट लाइन ड्रॉ किया है, ये इंडिकेट कर रहा है कि एक पॉजिटिव डाइवर्जेंस यहाँ पर बिल्ड हुआ है, पर ये एक वीक पॉजिटिव डाइवर्जेंस है. वीक किस लिए? क्योंकि 40 के लेवल के अभी भी ऊपर है. जो आरएसआई 25 पीरियड का राइट साइड एंड है, अभी भी लेवल ऑफ 40 के ऊपर है, जिसके वजह से इसको हम वीक आरएसआई पॉजिटिव डाइवर्जेंस मानेंगे. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि साइडवेज एक्टिविटी हम देख सकते हैं मार्केट में. तो हो सकता है मार्केट यहाँ ये प्रीवियस हाई या तो यहाँ तक या तो यहाँ तक एक बार रिकवर करे. तो ये लेवल तो ऑलमोस्ट अचीव हो चुका है इस हाई के पास. हो सकता है यहाँ पर आए मार्केट. तो ये कौन सा लेवल हम देख लेते हैं, ये करीब अपना 24,700. तो ये पहला शॉर्ट टर्म रेजिस्टेंस है. बट सिंस मार्केट अब मुझे लगता है कि काफी पास है अपने रिकवरी स्टार्ट करने के, हो सकता है कि यहाँ पे थोड़ा सा बड़ा बाउंस भी दे, यहाँ पे 25,000 के आसपास तक टच करे. बट उसके बाद ये 24,900 तक इसके जाने का अभी भी चांस है। अगर आप 75 मिनट चार्ट के आरएसआई का ओवरऑल स्ट्रक्चर देखेंगे तो अभी बिल्कुल ये नेगेटिव रेंज में है। क्यों? क्योंकि ये ऊपर की तरफ ना 60 को टच कर रहा है और नीचे की तरफ ये बिल्कुल अच्छी तरह से 40 को ब्रेक कर रहा है। और इस पॉइंट, दिस इज द पॉइंट, ये 25,000 जब इसने ब्रीच किया था, दिस वाज द पॉइंट जब ऑफिशियली 75 मिनट का चार्ट बेरिश हो गया था। बट इस टर्न अराउंड या इस चेंज का इंडिकेशन आरएसआई पर काफी पहले से आने लगा था, क्योंकि मोमेंटम स्लो डाउन वाज वेरी वेरी एविडेंट। तो ये रहा हमारा निफ्टी का एनालिसिस। ओके, अब हम आगे बढ़ते हैं और हम डिस्कस करते हैं। Okay, so I will repeat the Nifty analysis in English also once, just to for our non-Hindi speaking members. So starting from the weekly time frame. So on the weekly time frame, we saw that we first studied the overall structure of Nifty, and we observed that on the weekly time frames RSI 25 period, the level of 40 was not breached back in March 25 when the Nifty was in correction. How do we conclude that? Because the RSI 25 period had respected the level of 40. Uh, the volume uptick, if you look at the volume activity did not pick up on price decline. The volume activity did pick up when the price started rallying, so price up, volume up. And look at the price structure. This is clearly a ABC structure, which indicates that this is an intermittent correction, not a not a bear trend. It's it's a pullback in a bull trend, and this is the beginning of a brand new uptrend, which has been established by creation of a higher high above this previous peak on the weekly time frame. Coming to the daily time frame, the daily time frame is also currently in the bull range, and the RSI is currently close to the level of 40, but it has not breached it. So until and unless RSI 25 period of the daily time frame does not breach the level of 40, in my opinion, and as per my analysis, the RSI, the overall momentum of the broad market index continues to remain bullish, which means a broad market, right? The Indian stock market continues to remain bullish per my analysis. Um, Speaking of key levels, so 24,500 was a key support which has already been breached. So I believe that 23,900 is the next support, is the next level when Nifty should see key support. Now 23,900 is a very important level because the 250 EMA lies there, and price structure, like as per the price structure also, this is very important. One more thing, let's draw the Fibonacci here just to get a sense of what correctionary level this falls at. So it's right above the 50% retracement. So I don't expect the 23,900 to get breached. In fact, I would expect the next leg to be pretty slow. We are also observing that the momentum of the correction has declined. If we go to the 75-minute time frame, which currently is bearish because the RSI is in negative range, there is, however, the build of a weak positive divergence. Typically, when a weak positive divergence is forged, we can see either some sideway consolidation or a small rally leading to a previous high, but not necessarily the establishment of a higher high. So there are two resistances present on Nifty's chart at the moment in very short term. One is over here near this level, which is the 20 EMA around 24,750. Another is this previous high close to 24,950 ish, or 25,000 to round it up. But I don't expect 24,950 to get breached, because even 24,500 would essentially mean a higher high above on the 75-minute time frame, right? So again, 75-minute time frames RSI is also the 25 period RSI, and it is giving us indications of uh, intermittent strength in a bearish momentum. So 75-minute time frame is bearish, daily time frame is bullish, weekly time frame is bullish. Very typical observation made during intermittent corrections that unfold in the market, right? So this is what we are expecting in the market: a small uh, uptick, but probably will not sustain, followed by creation of another low. Now, typically, when this kind of a up move happens, what this does is it excites some weak hands, and then this leg of correction will happen. This is where absolute pessimism sets in, because people who are trying to bottom fish will jump in, and when this correction comes, it'll break all their hopes, and this is where they will get out, right? And then absolutely, wow, that, oh, I'm never going into the market again. That honestly, that's a emotional cycle that is repeated pretty much every single time. It was also repeated when this entire correction was unfolding. In fact, when this correction was unfolding, it was repeated twice: first over here, and then the second time closer to this bottom, and then over here closer to this bottom as well, right? So, that being said, we are done with the analysis of Nifty. I would like to take a moment to clean up my charts. I don't want to leave it messy. There we go, we're done. And now let's move on to the indices. So, we will open the indices list. So, this was the last time that we discussed. Now, today's August 15th. Let's see what the sectoral charts are saying. So, some painful sideways activity noted on most charts this week. So, FMCG, it is still in the bull range, at least on the daily time frame. What the 75-minute time frame is saying: 75-minute time frame looks a little bit listless. So, well, FMCG does have strong underlying bullishness per the daily chart. So, we'll continue to keep it in the bullish segment on the watch list. Here we have the PSU Bank. So PSU Bank on the daily chart again does look bullish. We did expect an intermittent correction, and that intermittent correction has unfolded. But my overall view on the PSU banking sector is still very bullish, and we observe that the sector index has indeed jumped up from the 100 EMA support, which is good news. So we continue to keep it in the bullish segment. Next, healthcare and pharma. So we moved the healthcare in the bullish segment on the 1st of August, and you can see that since 7th, 8th August, it's given very good rally. We can see lots of healthcare stocks moving beautifully, and I expect this rally to actually continue, because on the daily chart, we can see the healthcare index has come into bullish momentum. Next, we have Pharma. Pharma also has come back into bullish momentum on the daily chart, bounced back right up from the 250 EMA. 75-minute time frame is also looking a little promising. I would like it to go overbought and then stay above the level of 40 after that. But I think pharma and healthcare both continue to look very bullish. Next is oil and gas. So, oil and gas was in the bull range, but it started intermittently falling. And now I can see it has taken a bit of a support at the level of 40 on the daily time frame, which honestly is looking promising. Here it has broken the 250 EMA very briefly. So what I will do is I will set an alert over here, and if and when this price gets crossed, I will reassess oil and gas, oil and energy, oil and gas sector index. And if then it looks positive to me, I will be moving it up to the bullish segment. But for now, I will keep it in the potential segment. Realty, I think reality is okay. So we see a positive divergence starting to form here, but starting to form, not completely formed. So we will keep an eye out on this. We will move this alert level to here. And if reality index goes above this, then we will reassess it. If it looks promising, we might move it to the bullish segment. Energy, again, positive divergence. So you see how even the smaller indices are also showing potential positive divergences. This is good. This does mean that the market may be closing in on a larger turnaround. Okay. So over here, again, we've moved the alert for the energy sector also lower. It is not looking bullish yet, but it seems to be building towards that potential, which means that we are not going to create positions preemptively. We will wait for the index to turn positive, and we will want to keep an eye out on these stocks from these sectors. Finance. Oh, so CNX Finance is actually looking bullish for sure. So we will move CNX Finance back to the bullish segment. Why? Because on the daily time frame, we can see that the RSI is clearly in the bull range. On the 75-minute also, it seems to have turned up with a nice little positive divergence. It is yet to create a higher high, so I want to see it go above. Sorry, I want to see the index go above this price level, and once it does, that is where I would like to ideally go in and create my position. What about Bank Nifty? Bank Nifty has taken a neat support at the 100 EMA. This is why I love the 100 EMA, which is it just works. It works great. And I expect that the index is going to respect this EMA, because you see the RSI has already started tipping above the level of 40, creating a bit of a higher high here. Some people like to, I think, call this a hidden positive divergence. I don't know what that means. I don't use that terminology. I don't make those observations, but I like the structure that I'm looking at right now. There is definitely not a hidden, but a very evident positive divergence here. And I'm ready to move Bank Nifty also back to the bullish segment. Next, media. Media looks weak. So I think we are going to move it to neutral. Consumption sector index, it doesn't look weak, but it doesn't particularly look strong. So I'm going to keep it where it is right now. Nifty Private Bank has been in the positive range, which is the bull range. It has been in the bull range, but it has been declining, and it has created a positive divergence here. So, okay, so it looks like the next couple of weeks might actually be a comeback story for the finance sector. So keep an eye out. Muthoot Finance, we know, gave a massive gap up yesterday. So, this is definitely a space to look out for. And also remember, when the whole finance sector, private, public, all financial, non-banking, NBFCs, when everything starts to rally, it does typically lift the whole market up. So again, these charts, these index charts also showing positive signals, is our heads up that, hey, things might be getting better, but please be patient. Don't rush into allocating your money in the market, because honestly, the market does turn more slowly than we like to believe. Uh, it's very important to look at the bigger picture, keep an eye on the bigger picture, and not get carried away on the daily waves. Uh, it's better to focus on the tides if you want to, make a big catch in the market. Um, Speaking of infra, so infra is in the bull range, but and 75-minute time frame has started to show a positive divergence too, but it's still in the negative range, and it doesn't look as strong as the finance sector overall. So I think I'm going to keep it in potential, but I'm going to move it above reality for sure. I want to keep so oil and gas, and then energy, infra, then reality, then consumption. And now let's see what's going on in consumption. Sorry, now let's look at what's going on in consumer durables. So consumer durables did go very briefly. It went positive there. It's been creating a series of higher highs. It has not created a lower low yet. So the structure remains positive, but I think from potential perspective, the sectors that we've marked bullish above have more potential. I will still move consumer durables to bullish, but I think FMCG and consumer durable will be my least preferred sectors. I think my most preferred sector will be the PSU Bank for now, followed by healthcare, pharma, followed by finance, followed by private bank and bank nifty. So I think I'm going to focus on the top four sectors mostly to build my portfolio, or try to gravitate towards these portfolio stocks. And if when I think of it, most of the GTTs that I have set, they all belong to stocks from these sectors in my portfolio in my short term trading plan portfolio also. Which, by the way, reminds me that today being Independence Day, I'm giving a one time 15% off. Now, this is something that I do every single year. So, if you want to be part of my short term plan or my long term plan or my advanced swing trade training program or everything at once, you can join the EXP Pro package. Only for today, you're going to get 15% off if you use the code IND15. So, all you need to do is visit expinvest.in and scroll down. You'll get the introduction to all the services on my page, and whichever service is interesting to you, you can click to view more options and get in there. You can also fill up the form to have a chat with my team. She's available today for you to answer your questions, but you know if you don't find her, if you don't ask your questions and don't sign up today, you will not get this discount tomorrow. So today is the last day to avail this. All right. Oh, so we have a very nice comment from CB. He's saying that he has immense interest in technical analysis. It's his hobby to read charts, um, and he prefers to read random charts from year 2000 to current. That's a very good practice, honestly, because past price action analysis is very important to understand stock personality and become and make proper decisions. In my advanced swing trade training class, I always say that, chart analysis cheat book is always with us, and the past price action is the cheat book. And you always want to look at what the stock has done in the past when it was in a similar situation. Like, for example, if you've noticed that the stock has just moved to a positive range on the daily time frame, then what you want to do is go back in time and see what did it do. What did the 75-minute time frame, what did the daily time frame, what did the 15, what did the weekly time frame look like when the chart was in a similar standing in the past. Typically you will see, if you study even 3 cycles in the past and get insights, it will help you a lot in making better decisions today, because you will understand the nature of pullbacks to expect, the level of corrections to expect in the market. What is the tendency of the stock, how much does it retrace, does it have a tendency to give deep retracements or shallow retracements. There are a lot of things that the charts can tell you. So currently you're pursuing CA. Should you go for CMT for technical learnings? Honestly, if you just want to learn technicals, there are just great books out there that you can refer to. You don't have to go for the CMT exams, because CMT is not exactly cheap. uh, s- so unless you want to do it as a career where you want to go and get a job, or you want to build your own business, because having credential is always good. Because, like, for instance, I'm a research analyst, I'm registered with SEBI, and I have my own business. So having the CMT and the CFA curriculums are a great way to display my credibility. So if that is what you want, then yes, you should get your CMT. But if you just want to do it for your own trading, managing your own money, doing it just for yourself, then you don't really need to get CMT. You can just study the books. You can do the mock tests for CMT to test your knowledge if that's what you want. So Mohan Patil is saying, please take some stock analysis for investment purpose. So Mohan, so I do answer stock queries asked by members on Zoom. So you have to be a member. So you have to unfortunately sign up because of SEBI regulations. It's almost free. Uh, I use premium Zoom membership. Honestly, what I charge doesn't even cover my Zoom membership, so it is almost free. But I do have to take a token amount from you if I'm to give you any stock requests. So you're welcome to go there and join and ask questions for stocks. As for my recommendations, I don't share recommendations on the stocks which I am giving to my premium members here, because that's obviously a conflict of interest. And I also don't think it is right for me to give very specific recommendations based on hours that I have spent researching the market on a free platform, right? So that being said, let's now move towards stock queries being asked by members on Zoom. All right, there we go. So we will look at the chart. So we have request for FedFina stock. Okay, let's take a look at. Oh, huh. I wasn't aware that Federal Bank has completely changed its ticker name. Interesting. Um, okay. So let's see. No, this doesn't seem like. So this is not. Oh, Fed Bank Financial Services. Completely different. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So let's see. Let's go full screen on this. I am on the weekly time frame. So weekly time frame, RSI has just gone overbought, which is indicating strong momentum. We can observe that volume is going up with price increases, which is good. On the daily time frame, also, there was a very strong positive divergence that had forged, and then the price created a nice little higher high, gave a approached the resistance, took some time, but finally gave a little breakout. The volume activity actually increased after the 250 EMA was braved. But since then, we can clearly observe that, oh, okay, so there was also this massive gap over here. So once this gap was filled, the volume activity really shot up. Since then, we are seeing rally up to this point with increasing volumes. Now, the thing is, on the daily chart, there is a very mild negative divergence along with absence of volume pickup this point onward. So even though the price continues to rally, the volume pickup is clearly not there. See here, the price did pick up, but the volume did not. So what this tells me is that we can expect some pullback activity here. So maybe the stock will pull back all the way here. This seems a little extreme. It seems like a big pullback, honestly. So
Recording stopped.
maybe not that far, but this also is an intermittent support. It's also the previous high level. So we can wait for maybe the stock to revisit the level of 120 and then take a call. All right. This let's also talk about PVR. Um, So Shiju has a question on PVR, and he also asked the question in the advanced swing trade training group. So let's discuss this. So there was a positive divergence on the daily chart, and since then the price has rallied, but it has not. So this was the previous high on the daily chart. That has not been crossed, but these internal levels have been crossed. Fine. Let's take a look at the volume, right? So okay, this also actually would be considered a higher high since price has crossed above this. We can say that the price has started creating higher highs for sure. So higher high done. uh, the daily time frames RSI has established the overbought activity by going above the level of 60. So that is done. So it's moved to the bull range officially after being in the bear range all this time. So higher high done, bull range done. Volume activity, we are seeing uptick in volumes against price rallies. So this is also a positive on the daily time frame, right? So overall, the daily time frame is looking very bullish. Now, here what I am seeing on the weekly time frame is so weekly time frame is not looking bullish yet, which is concerning. See, here this is where the weekly time frame had turned bullish last time, but then it gave a negative divergence, broke below the level of 40, became negative. Okay, stayed, it became negative, then again it crossed the level of 60, establishing bull range, stayed bullish all this while, but this is where it broke below the level of 40. Here it respected 40, gave a nice little jump, resisted 60, and then came back to break below the level of 40. So since here it's been in the negative range. So weekly time frame is negative, daily time frame is bullish, which means that this rally that is currently unfolding, unless the weekly time frame gives us better signal, I would expect this rally to get stifled over here around 1350 level, which still looks good, but this was not something that I would put my money on at this point of time, right? To be more conservative, I would move it below because there is this resistance. Now, this resistance can also come in here, it can come in here, it can come in here. So, we don't know. Essentially, this whole thing is resistance zone. And then there's also the 250 EMA. So, you see, this whole zone is basically very, very unreliable for us. It's possible that this volume activity dies out at the 250 EMA. Who knows? But let's talk about the weekly time frame now. So the weekly time frame as of this moment is also in the bull range because it's been overbought since this date, and over here it has been respecting the level of 40. Volume activity is also strong. So weekly is bearish, daily is bullish, and 75-minute is bullish. Now, because for to increase our probability of success, we prefer the top down approach. Typically, if the weekly time frame looks the way it is looking right now, that is bearish, I wouldn't even go into the daily and the 75-minute time frame. But since it was asked, I did the analysis in details. And my outlook on this overall would be to avoid for the time being. I think there is much better opportunity available in pharma, healthcare, finance sectors than PVR. All right, let's look at another stock, Northern Arc Capital Limited. So not much on the weekly time frame, unfortunately. The daily time frame is definitely clearly in bull range, and 100 EMA support has just kicked in. I would want to see the 75-minute again go above the level of 60 and sustain. And on the chart, I would like to see this level of resistance to be crossed. Unfortunately, since the price activity is very limited out here, it is difficult to analyze this for a long term, because I know you're interested in long term analysis only. But given the single price trajectory that we have, and because the stock has respected this trend line that we've drawn based on joining the peaks, I would expect a target of around 287 here. Correct? That being said, now one thing that you have to notice is the volume activity is very, very, very dry. And this gigantic spike here does suggest that, the stock is very easy to sway by, a small group of traders making big bets. So you want to be extremely cautious and not allocate more than 1% of your total capital here. Next, let's take a look at the stock of Sobha and make this the last stock of the day, because I have another call in 3 minutes. Okay, so I see Sobha over here on the weekly time frame is very clearly in the bull range, which is amazing. On the daily time frame, it created a positive divergence and since then has gone overbought, which means it has moved into the positive range. Price is creating higher highs and higher lows, which is again very promising. 75-minute time frame also actually looks great. from volume perspective, on the daily weekly time frame, if we see, the volume did pick up a little bit on the upside, so I will give it green. I will give it positive on that note. Now on the weekly time frame, I see volume activity up to this point, but this rally occurred pretty much on dry volumes except for on a single candle. So that doesn't seem very promising to me. So the volume activity is actually absent. And on the weekly time frame, however, the volume activity does seem to be picking up. But is it really happening on price upsides? Difficult to say right now. So while the overall structure in Sobha does look positive, I think there is a little bit of a mixed signal from the lower time frames, right? So having said that, I would want to see the volume activity improve here. I would want to see a higher high getting forged. Uh, I would want to see the stock go above this level, maybe. What is this level? This is around 1620. And then I will revisit the stock to analyze what is happening, whether the volume activity is improved or whether it is still the same. So analyze whether walls have improved. All right. Now, that being said, there's another last thing that I do want to discuss. The Nifty Small Cap Index, and this will be interesting for our friends who are interested in doing SIP in the market. Now, what you will see here, what I read here, is that the Nifty Small Cap Index has become bullish, and this is the first proper correction that it has given since the start of this brand new bull trend. Now, remember the last time when a bull trend started on the Nifty Mid Cap Index over here, after the first correction, this index went up almost 100%. This was not the only time. Every time this index, starts a new rally, it goes into a massive, massive upside, right? So this correction, I think, that we are witnessing right now is a very good time to start an SIP for with an outlook of minimum of 3 years in the small cap index. So if you've been wondering or if you've been planning to start an SIP, just look for the biggest fund houses offering a small cap fund and go for the direct plan and just start a SIP of whatever it is, that you can afford. I am personally am expecting a 30% KGO from this market cap group, and this is also what I'll be doing with my capital. So I thought I'll come online and I will discuss this, because see, if you've made any investments in this index since June 24. Right now, your investments will not, and it's been more than a year, your investments will be exactly where they were, if not lower, right? Which can be very which can feel defeating, which can feel discouraging. But forget about all that. Currently the stock, or the entire this group, this market cap group, is looking very attractive at this point. And if you invest right, if you start an SIP right now, the next 3, 5, 10 years can be rewarding. I think 10 years is a bit too long of a horizon. I think next 3 to 5 years can be extremely rewarding if you start an SIP. But it has to be an SIP. And also, don't do like a monthly SIP. It's better to do a weekly SIP if you can. It just offers more compounding opportunity for you, right? So that being said, we now come to the end of today's session. Thank you everyone for joining in. I will see you again on Monday. Thank you so much for listening. Just don't forget to join my Telegram channel, Trade with Kavita, if you want more information about when I'm going to come online, if you want the links to my services that I'm offering, the short term trade setup, long term trade setup, advanced swing trading, plan and the discount coupon code. If you want direct links, just go to my Telegram channel, get everything over there. With that, thank you so much for joining in. I will see you on Monday. Namaste.